strap line to Tilly Nobody is a remarkable true story about recovery from a toxic relationship. And I find Tilly Wedekind's story very inspiring and remarkable, and it makes me want to tell stories that are inspiring for others, stories that are true, stories that fly from a dark cage towards the light, stories that show the nature of human resilience. I've been acting for over 30 years. I'm a distinguished professor. I've written books that are translated in languages across the world. I'm married to my soulmate, who is a wonderfully talented actor, is also the very mischievous director of Tilly Nobody, but it very nearly didn't turn out that way. You may remember back in episode 3, I said that I had grown up in the grounds of Worcester Cathedral and I had escaped to London so that I could get away from the ever-watching eyes of the angels. But the truth is, the angels never stop watching over you. And I'm going to tell you a story in this penultimate episode, which actually opens a Pandora's box for me. And the reason I want to tell it is that the thing that's left inside Pandora's box is hope. And this for me is one of the most hope-filled moments of my entire life. In 2016, I had the chance to go and do the month-long intensive training for mid-career professionals at Shakespeare & Company in Lenox, Massachusetts. And one of the classes was staged violence. Now, I'd done fight classes at drama school in the UK and in Russia. It was usually with a weapon of some sort, a distance between the protagonist and the opponent. The stage violence at Shakespeare & Company was hand-to-hand combat. And I've got to be honest, I didn't really want to do the classes. I wasn't feeling in a mood for doing staged violence. And in one of the classes, we were doing a slap to the stomach, which involved the protagonist, the attacker, that's me, raising their hand up like this and then bringing it down on the relaxed belly of the other person with a very relaxed hand. So that's the action. And in this class, I went like that. And at that moment, I felt as if my whole psoas muscle, right the way down to my pelvis, my groin, was absolutely in agony. Flashback. I'm about 27. It's about 18 months after we've done our production of LULU. And the person that I've renamed Henry and I are having probably one of the most physical combats, real life, that we've ever had. And on this occasion, I was really scared. And I remember running to the bedroom window, throwing up the sash and shouting our address out as loud as I could, crying for the neighbors to call the police. The fight ensues, and as I said, I can't remember huge amounts about it, but I do remember I can feel clumps of hair in my hand. I can see the lino of the kitchen floor, so clearly we're scrapping and we're down on the floor. I at one point remember scrabbling up to get on top of the kitchen table, and I'm on my hands and knees on the kitchen table and he's lower than me, and I remember going through my head as, what can I do to stop this? What can I do to stop this? How do I shut him up? How do I bring this to an end? And I remember grabbing this large brass candlestick that had 5 prongs to it that was on the kitchen table and raising it above my head like that. At that split second, the police knocked on the door and I froze. And he froze, and we didn't say anything, do anything. A few minutes later, they knock again, police, open up. And neither of us moves, neither of us does anything. While I was doing some research for a book for Shakespeare & Company, which I ended up writing for them, I went along to a weekend symposium that was about theatre, actor training, trauma, healing. And there was a short documentary that was shared that was all about women prisoners incarcerated for having murdered their aggressors, their domestic partners. And suddenly all the dots connected. Why in the fight class, in this position, I had felt like I'd wrenched my psoas muscle. That was the position I'd been in when my angels were watching over me, and at that split second, the police had knocked on the door. I was that far away from being with those women incarcerated for murdering the person that was creating abuse in my life. There's a recurring line in Tilly Nobody, which is,
say the right thing, Tilly. Say the right thing. Say the right thing, Tilly. Say the right thing.
In sharing this story with you, I believe I'm saying the right thing because I want to acknowledge how close so many of us are driven in situations of intimate partner coercion, and how the violence is not all one way. And I celebrate the complete human being in Tilly Nobody, and hopefully we fly from the dark cage towards the light.